Okay, so the ringside announcers are questioning whether Saunders quit versus Alvarez. I mean, really? David Abbasi, orthopedic surgeon and professional ringside physician for the commission. I want to talk about this controversial ending with Canelo Alvarez versus Saunders. Ben Saunders was in this fight. However, in the 8th round, he goes back to his corner, unable to continue. Let's review the event that led up to this. Canelo Alvarez lands a perfect uppercut to the side of his face, likely the cheekbone here. And immediately after that, when Ben Saunders goes back to his corner, we see black and bruising underneath that eye, and his eye starts to completely swell shut. Now, we read some reports that his trainers actually stopped the fight or threw in the towel, did not let him continue. Canelo Alvarez actually made a comment saying that he knew after he threw this uppercut that he had basically crushed his eye, and that he thought that Ben Saunders would not continue after that as well. So let's review that footage. Let's look at that perfect uppercut. You can see Canelo Alvarez putting all of his body weight into it, lands square right over that cheekbone. So that's the zygomatic bone. Let's look at a skull real quick. The zygomatic bone is the most common one that is fractured from punching, or from an uppercut like this, where it lands square on that cheekbone, okay? And the zygomatic bone does, three-dimensionally come out, and it is meant to protect the orbit sitting inside of it. But a blow like this could absolutely crush it. And then the symptoms that we see sometimes are what's called these raccoon eyes, or basically black and bruising underneath the eye. We can get blood that kind of starts going into the white of the eye. And then we can also see that the eye starts to swell shut in defense, okay? And those are the signs that we did see with Ben Saunders. So I think he was rushed to the hospital is what was reported as well. So what they're likely gonna do when he goes to the hospital is they're gonna do an exam. He will most likely get a CT scan of the head. And that's what we need to see to look at the severity of these types of fractures. So what we would be looking for would be the fracture of the zygomatic bone, and to see if it's displaced or non-displaced. If it's non-displaced, then the fracture ends would be aligned right next to each other. If it's displaced, that means that one part of the bone may be not sitting in the correct position versus the other side. And depending on if it's non-displaced or displaced with fractures, that's how us doctors determine if it's gonna need surgery or not. So hopefully if it's non-displaced, it can be treated with no surgery. If it's displaced sometimes, then it may need some help by the surgeon putting it back in the right position. And sometimes we also have to add plates and screws to hold it in that position as well. So that's the punch that we saw last night. Absolutely perfect uppercut into the cheekbone, fractures his zygomatic bone most likely. And that's why his trainers supposedly threw in the towel. There was some comments made whether or not he quit, but the science holds that absolutely was possible to have a severe injury such as a broken zygomatic bone or eye socket. So that's the breakdown today. If you guys enjoy breakdowns like this, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.